our first conversation for this morning. Joining us from the Bus Association, we have the President of the Bus Association, Mr. Thomas Shaw. Good morning. And the Secretary of the Bus Association, Mr. Ewart Metzgen. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, gentlemen, let's begin off. Of course, this has been a topic that has been of discussion on the news and so on. So let's get into the court case and the matter.
Well, the first thing, if I may, I would say good morning, Belize, television viewers. The first thing I would like to address is a post that was actually put up by Floralia attacking the BBA.
You mean their press release?
Yeah, their press release.
Yes.
That was sent out on the 15th of September.
Yes.
And he wanted some questions, and I would like to take this opportunity to respond to his question in terms of he wanted to know who is BBA, what are our visions, and what we cannot actually BBA doesn't really know how to respond to the commuters. The first thing I'd like to start off with, that BBA has been revived since 2010, and we as an association, our association is here for Belizeans, and as I said, we're going to fight to the end, whatever it takes to make sure that our operators' investment are being protected. BBA is here to protect each and every operator investment out there. Now, when we talk about Floralia, the thing is that, well, you hear a lot of people keep saying that, oh, Floralia has new bus. But the truth of the matter is, maybe he's not aware of it. Maybe not even the younger generation know where this industry actually, when we got started. I think if you look at the history, I don't even know if some kids know that people used to take boat to come to Belize City.
Well, yes, that's recorded.
When buses started to run, it wasn't buses. They were trucks. I think Novellos had the first truck out there by the name of Liverpool. You know, trucks used to run. At that time, the roads were bad. At that time, we didn't have no terminals. So when you look at the history, why the BBA is here is due to the fact that from government to government, you find out that there are unfair competitions, permits are being issued illegally to operators, and we do believe that whenever it comes to, if you want to see progress within our industry, we believe that the government, the department, the transport department needs to do their due diligence. The way Floralia came into this business, there's no operator out there in their right mind would go and make that vast investment, bring in 7 buses if you were not promised something. That's the first thing. When he said we rejected him, yes, he did come to the association, but Mr. Floralia, you're deceitful, because when you came to join the association, you didn't mention to us that you had an application in for a run in the west and one in the north. I spoke to you and I asked you in one of our meetings if you have any intention of doing any more runs, and you said, Mr. Shaw, no. He said, because as it is, I'm just operating at 55 to 60% capacity. So I have no more interest in applying for no other runs unless the department thinks otherwise. So if you stated that you didn't have no interest in getting into bringing more runs into the country, why is it you want to go to the west? Why is it you want to go to the north? You even mentioned to me that, Mr. Shaw, I have checked all the time slots. And to be honest, every slot that I look at is being taken by another operator. Now, if you had a vision for this industry and you had any kind of conscience and empathy towards the existing operators, you'd have consulted with us, knowing that there's an association. You didn't came to us. Whosoever you went to, or whosoever set you up, because I think you're being set up. Because there's no way you can make it in this industry unless you're willing to buy out everybody and we pull aside. But when you buy out everybody, make sure that you come with terminals. Because at the end of the day, he came in, he didn't bring anything new to this industry. Because in the Novello days, they brought in 2 brand new Mercedes-Benz buses. Gilhari at that time had brand new buses. We had another operator in the west, Trespelito, which was owned by Geras. They brought in 4 brand new Rusmo buses. But here we are 30, 35, 40 years after. Where are they? Due to the way the permits are being issued.
Not to cut you off, Mr. Shaw, but I really want to get into the root of the case itself because there's a lot more that we need to discuss. So
Okay.
the 20th, you guys got a verdict. You guys went to court, you got a verdict. Can you talk to us about the case itself?
Okay, I'll let my secretary respond to that.
On the 20th September, around 5:36, the lawyer that represents us, Baron Williams, one of the attorneys from the office, called me and told me that the court had ruled in favor against the case we had, Brian Williams, James Bus Line against DOT and Floralia. We were granted judicial review.
Okay.
So with our case put forward, with all the evidence we presented to the lawyer, and the lawyer put them together and presented them to the court. The court saw whereby there were some improprieties in the way how Floralia was inserted into the industry, so hence the granting of the judicial review.
What was your point of contention in terms of the way in which they were introduced into the industry?
Well, again, I'll put that to Mr. Shaw. He sits on the board meeting. He has the more details on how that was done. So, Mr. Shaw.
Okay, the contention is that when they came in, the runs that they are doing presently were being serviced by one of our members.
Which is the James Bus Line.
James Bus Line.
And Brian Williams.
And Brian Williams, okay? So that was one of our contention, and as we always state that whenever you're going to do if the board is going to issue a permit, you do your due diligence and you have to make sure that it's not going to impact an existing operator. If it's going to impact an existing operator, then that should be null and void. But they came in and the board stated that they gave a presentation and it blew their mind. So based on that, they issued a permit. But you have a thing you call cause and effect. You have sowing and reaping. So what you sow, you reap. The thing is that because of you giving Florida these run, you have one of my operator maybe cannot meet his payment at the end of the month. We at the BBA, we thought we see where it was unfair. So with that, our members, we got together, we held a meeting, and this is how this case actually came about.
Okay. So if I understand it correctly, judicial review, and you could correct me, means that the court has agreed that this matter needs to be put forth for review.
Absolutely.
In terms of the procedure and the manner in which they were introduced. So the next step would be for these files to be presented to the court for a review, for a judicial review.
Absolutely. We have 14 days to do
just that.
To address that.
Just that.
Right.
This could lead to some sort of implications for the bus company if in fact the court finds, and that will take some months I would imagine, but if in fact the court finds that yes.
Well, it took us 6 months to reach where we are today.
Indeed, it took you 6 months.
This process started in March.
Yeah.
We started this process in March, and so it will take a bit more time, but it just shows that we were right in the BBA. When I say we at the BBA, we were right to take this to the court. Mm-hmm. One of the basis the department objected us going to court was because there was a recourse where we could have gone before we went to court, but that was compromised. Meaning the minister himself, because whenever the transport board makes a decision and any operator is not satisfied with this decision made by the board, you have 20 days whereby you can write or you can seek an audience with the minister. So in a case like that, the minister would be like the appeal court you go to, and he listens to your case and why you don't agree with the decision the board made. And he could either rebuke what the board says and go with you, or he could say what the decision of the board, I stand with them.
What is the procedure then, if you will enlighten us for a little bit, that a new bus operator would have to do in order to run, in order to be a part of the BBA, in order to do their due diligence? What is the proper legal procedure?
The proper legal procedure, first of all, we got to start from the top, and that's the transport board, to make sure that if an operator is applying for a run, you cannot, regardless of how you put it, you cannot do no tweeting. We have the consultant that were there. I think they were paid $500,000 to come in here to do the consultation, make recommendation to the government, the department, in the way how the industry is being run and operated. The first thing is that part of that money, maybe I could have gotten it, because you know what, the same thing that the consultants are saying, we had the answer, okay? We had the answer. But they're saying we are oversaturated, but yet we are issuing permits. Now Florida, yes, we don't have a problem accepting Florida, but at this juncture, we have to go through the right process. The first thing is, if there are runs that are not being serviced at this point in time. Florida came in and he didn't establish a route. He came in, you set the table, the road was paved. When he came into this industry, he came in and received a price increase. He came in and received a fuel subsidy. He came in and got partial duty exemption of what we were asking for so many years.
We don't have.
The next thing is that if you want to know who's BBA, the BBA fought for what you are being, you're a recipient of it at this present point in time. And as I said, if you want to come in, sir, you need to take the line. You cannot come and jump in front of the line. There are runs that are not being serviced, and we suggest that you go in, you send in your application, and you apply. We have runs at 10 o'clock at night, 11, 12 o'clock. Nobody's doing that. Apply for that, and since you say you want to bring a different service, then get out there and build a run. What we are saying, it takes an operator almost 3 years to establish a route. And it's unfair after our operator. We know it, my operator knows it, because we went through the struggle and to get the industry to where it's at this point in time. So if he wants to come in, please send in your application and apply for runs that nobody isn't doing, because he came in and they went to the different district, and they have people at the terminal say they're taking data. And all he's doing, make we see how much people on board James 8 o'clock bus. Make we see how much people on board Venus 7 o'clock bus. And it's based on that he applied. But you are running right in front of the other operator.
It appears as if this has been a contentious relationship between the Belize Bus Association and Floralia since the moment they came into the industry. And of course, it began with the court case. Right. And one would imagine that they were accepted, or albeit it's a matter of contention at this point, that their application to enter the industry was accepted because of this administration's vision for the bus industry at this moment. And I get your argument in saying that transportation in Belize began with boats and ferries, and then moved to trucks, and then moved to the buses and the bus association that we have right now. The question I beg to ask, though, is where are we headed next? Where is the Belize Bus Association and your members headed next? We started with boats, and perhaps many will argue that in this day and age, we still have buses that, and I hate to say it, but almost have as much leaks as boats do.
Well, that's a post that the minister alluded to it, where he put up a post on his page that the operators with the dry weather buses. No, that's like, and then come December, it's like a attack upon the industry. But your question is, if you want to reinvent the wheels, we can go in that direction again. One of the problem is they has a vision, but the vision is, and I'm going to bring up the Novelos fiasco because we went there already. Whereas Novelos got this $30 million, of which it was public knowledge. We knew where the money came from. This company came in. We don't know where the money came from. When I asked where the money came from, I was told in our meetings, let me go to Central Bank. Now, you know, and I know, and the public know, that if you're going to any money that are coming into this country, we have the FIU, it should be investigated. We don't know whose money it is. We don't know if it's money laundering. And if you don't even want to disclose where your money come from. We have other operators that were in this business, and everybody knew where the money came from. So to answer your question is, do we want to go in that same direction, whereas we have this company that are coming in, don't know where the money is coming from, all the operators are still out there, you go to the bank and you borrow all this money, we'll be right back at square one. My operators are willing to upgrade, but we have no security. We're hearing about a 10-year permit, but basically a 10-year permit will not allow you to make more money. It will allow you to go and borrow more money from the bank. But will you be in the position to pay back this loan?
Yes.
So I mean, public transportation and the necessity for public transportation, you know, majority of Belizeans catch the bus every single day.
Okay.
So then I am listening to the conversation, and so far nobody has mentioned the consumer, right? Nobody has mentioned
I want to get there.
Okay. And so I was listening to Mr. Shaw discussing the press release issued by Floralia. You know, avidly looking at social media, you know, people talk about bus services, public transportation services. I can see the issue in terms of the bus itself, the resource itself, but another issue is the actual service being done by some of these operators.
That you have several ways on how you can go about answering that question.
Right.
To start with, the BBA, we've sat down, we've met with the National Bank. We see it's a way forward for our operators to make the sort of investment needed. But I will tell you offhand, around 80 to 85% of the traveling commuters, they are the ordinary man and woman that makes between $200 and $275 a week.
Yes.
So I'll start with there answering your question. Now, the government wants, and the public, then they say they want the nice bus there like the Florida got. They don't want to pay for it. Because I could tell Florida they like to part we there right now, part we with 1997 and 2002 buses. Then they charge the same money with in 2022 we the charge.
Yes.
The public want anything, they don't want to pay for it.
So it would require a price increase, and a significant one.
Yeah, because I'll speak on behalf of our members at the BBA. There are 40 of us in the BBA. And we are responsible for close to 70%. The BBA is responsible for moving 70% of this country. We have all the major operators with us. For us to do what the minister wants by December.
By December, I was going to bring that up.
The BBA needs $14 million to do what he wants us to do by December.
No.
No. We don't need it. No, we need it yesterday. So what he's asking for is, he can't be done, because I'll go now to the National Bank. The National Bank is asking for security. The bus operators are asking for security. And what the BBA has agreed with the bank, the National Bank, and with any other bank that is from here, therefore willing to work with bus operators to improve the system is to have those banks have a seat on the transport board. This way, it will give these lending institutions the security they need, that the loans borrowed by bus operators will be paid back, and also they will be protecting the people that bank with them, because the monies being used to lend us as operators will be the money that you deposit in the bank or in the credit union. So having the bank or banks have seats on the board will solve a lot of the problem the operators have right now. And the government, the department, and the minister does not want to do that. And it's not something that they need to take to cabinet, because the current structure and the way the law is set up for the makeup of the transport board caters for it. It's just the will of the politicians now. And the thing is, they don't want to do that because it will be taking control away from them, the politicians.
But correct me if I'm wrong when it comes to the power of the bus operator themselves. Small things like service quality would come a long way, because we still have public outcry about standing on the bus, late bus. Some bus operators charge a different fee than others, and it's not standardized. So
the standardization is there. The problem is the saturation and the amount of buses out there on the road. And operators, in order to get clientele and in order to get customers with them, they undercharge. The tariffs for you to travel on a bus is set by the government. And again, it comes down to enforcement, because we've discussed, and I think a bill, it has been passed, I stand to be corrected here, whereby, but I know in our meetings with the CEO and people from the department, whereby if operators don't charge what they're supposed to charge at the set rates, they could be fined up to $1,000 for not doing so.
And so where can somebody make those claims? Because and when I say charging different prices, it would be, for example, you have express buses that still run like regular and then still charge you like express. So how does then the bus association aid in making sure that certain services are kept up to par? Because besides the fact that everybody want riding an AC bus, the reason why people want that is because the buses are late. The buses, run like regular when it's supposed to be express, standees, all of that stuff. And so I think the public outcry or the consumer outcry goes beyond, I just want riding on a nice bus.
We understand all of that, and we respect the comments and the views from our commuters. Criticism is healthy, but constructive criticism, I think we should allude to the goodness and what the operators has been accomplishing throughout the years. When the said Floralia bus came online, they came online the 6th of December, whereas they stated that they were going to run an express service from the south to Belize City. 2 months after they were inserted into this industry, they removed from the express run, which didn't really go on table at the board, and were actually given permission to run regular. As it is right now, these buses are running regular. They stop on the road as well.
And running with standees.
And running with standees.
Were given
you hear what I'm
permission by
saying?
the government.
So,
with permission from
so at the end of the day, they're coming and say they have a vision, but it's misleading to the public. You stated that you were going to come into this industry and run a
different service.
A different service from point A to point B.
So
when they were asked, he said, well, we saw it wasn't feasible. We didn't have the amount of passengers for the express. So if he's saying they did their due diligence, he should have realized if you're going to come into this industry, not everything that glitters is gold. At the end of the day, we can do all the analysis and all the paperwork. But when you go out there on the ground, it's something different you're going to meet.
If you're to get that $14 million that is required, that you're saying is required, what is it that you would do with that money to better off the bus system in Belize?
The BBA has currently, our members, we have 20 express runs. It'll take $6 million to upgrade, to bring in, and I'm not talking brand new buses, because we're not going to bring in Chinese buses. We're dealing with the American buses because of the safety. We know those buses are safe. We know nothing about the buses from out of China. It will cost $300,000 to purchase one of those buses.
Okay.
And that's US dollars, that's just to buy them. You know, the type will get them, I believe, and if the government and give it duty free, some sort of duty exemptions on them. So we're looking at about $6 million thereabout to bring in those 20 buses to run express, and you're looking at buses around 2015, 2016 models. Compare those buses to what Floralia have here, night and day. 2016 Fan Hull or 2016 Cetra, what Floralia has can't stand up beside them.
Okay.
In form of comfort and everything else.
So that's
we
$6
have
million.
one of our operators bringing in money. It should be here within the next month, because it'll take some time after purchasing it and getting it in country. I spoke with Jamie from James Bus Line, and they have one of these buses coming in. So that will be a first of some of what the BBA members are bringing in.
I understand the conflict with Floralia, but again, I want to go back to my first question: how does the Bus Association help themselves when it comes to the consumer issues that they have with the bus companies? And that's what I want to get into.
Okay, with the consumer issues, to be honest with you, the public, the commuters, they ask for a lot. But as I said, you know, there's something where you go and you damage somebody's property, where you can be charged to do so. They complain about the buses with the torn seats that are torn, about when it comes to the cleanliness of the buses. Now my operators, that's their full responsibility. We must have PR. We must be respectful to our commuters. The commuters must always be first. This is our vision, and to try and improve and to provide the best possible service ever. But the way things are being done, operators want to improve. The commuters needs better. And as much as the commuters needs a better riding quality, a better service, the commuters need better terminals. The commuters from San Ignacio, they need to move from under the trees where they're at. If you go to Corozal, there's Orange Walk, there's no terminal in Orange Walk. If you look at all the terminals that within the country, none of these terminals were built by GOB. So you have here on Muscle Street, you had on Muscle Street, you had Batty Brothers. On Magazine Road, you had Venus Bus Line. On the canal side, you have Novelos Brothers. In Belmopan, again, they built that terminal. In San Ignacio, they built a terminal, but it wasn't utilized. Right now, in San Ignacio, in Benque, they built another terminal. So you see where we're at if there's no infrastructure. If you are a policymaker and you are demanding that the operators do certain things at a certain time, well, the BBA is demanding that the commuters need better. The commuters need a better seating facility within our terminal. The other night, we have clips of it where one overnight rain and the terminal, people were in there
walking in water.
Walking in water. If you go into the terminal, a terminal should be a terminal and not a market. If you go into the terminal, it's a market. It's actually saturated with vendors. There's no space for ticketing system. So this is why we are here, to let the public know what we are going through. We are doing our part. Well, then you, GOB, you do your part.
So let me ask you one final question to wrap this conversation up. What happens come December? Because it appears as if the Minister of Transport has put his foot down and he has made a declaration that you have until December to upgrade your services.
Well, we know, we operators are doing their best, but we know that's neither here nor there.
That don't happen.
Because Florida doesn't have 200 buses to take out the runs within this country, okay? And at the end of the day, the same demand that they're making to us, what if the lending institution abroad would come and demand their money from GOB? Huh? They owe as well, but they cannot, if you're saying right now, so we not got the money, so you cannot force somebody to do something. I mean, come on.
My final question would be, how does the Bus Association would go on to help improve the services that they're offering now in terms of making sure buses arrive on time? How do you monitor these things?
The Bus Association has nothing to do with buses reaching on time and leaving the terminals on time. That is the TMU, government, the Department of Transport deals with that.
So then where do you guys come in hand to meet that then?
Okay, what we do,
you can't tell them where for the
what we do, I sit at the board level, and these are conversations that comes up in all our meetings. Operators would complain that they go into certain terminals and the TMU terminal unit personnel are being paid while you could stay 15 minutes.
5 minutes.
You could stay back on 10 minutes. We do not condone that type of behavior within the BBA. Our operators complain on a daily basis, whereas certain operators are being given certain privileges above the others. Now, we can sit here all day, but it all boils down to enforcement. And once there's enforcement, the next thing is that operators are being given a time to reach from point A to point B, which is limited with all the stops, with all the speed bumps. People don't want to use the bus stops. Well, if you don't drop me to my house, I don't want to catch your bus. I go in on the next bus line. All of this, the operators has to go through. So it's not a bed of roses and you can just snap your finger and say it's going to happen overnight. And our operators, we are willing because, as I said, we have seen a tremendous change in the bus industry from where we were to where we are at this present moment.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my final question would be, for one of the reasons why you came in terms of improving services was accepting payments online. So just a small note about that.
That in itself, the bus operators, the BBA, our members, I'll speak on behalf of 440 members. We have no problem with signing up to the e-wallet and stuff like that. But one of our things that we had mentioned to Mr. Castillo from the National Bank, that will take an educational process for this country. Yeah. And it will take not only the BBA, it will take the banks, and it will take the Department of Transport to start educating the public that this is where it's going, and the public will need to start subscribing to these electronic devices and stuff like that. But that's not going to happen overnight. That take months.
Gentlemen,
we are here where we are willing to go sign up on these e-wallet thing to get it started, but it's not going to happen overnight.
Gentlemen, I'm sure we could stay here all day like what Mr. Shah said. So a half a minute closing thoughts from both of you.
Well, first of all, we want to thank you, viewers that are looking on. And we want to thank you guys for having us here today. We want to assure the Belizean public that the Belizean Bus Association are along with you. We are here for you, the poorer class of people. Not everybody that are out there is in the position to pay these hefty fees. So at the end of the day, we want to say thanks for really bending back along with us, and we are willing to go the last mile of the way to ensure. And as much as you guys want a better service, we are demanding that you guys get better terminals, get better seating facilities in our terminal, because here we are putting the cart ahead of the horse, and in reality where we were supposed to start, that isn't being discussed. We need better terminals. We need more enforcement. It's not just about saying you do this, do that, do the next, and then you are not doing your part. We are here not to fight with the department, but we are here to work hand in hand with them. It has to be a two-way street. It has to be a balance.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Final thoughts?
I'd like to say thank you all for having us here, and thanks to all those who are listening. We are at the BBA. We are doing our best. We are working with the lending institution right now, who's willing to work with us, and we agree with them, and they agree with us that security and for the operators and for the banks lending money is of paramount importance. The Department of Transport, the minister needs to understand this, that if they want to do what they want us to do, let these lending institutions have a seat on the transport board. That will not only protect the bankers and its and the people that deposit money in the bank, because those people need to be paid back. It will also protect and give us the security that we've been asking for years as bus operators. And if that is done, I can guarantee within a year or so you will start seeing the improvements and the betterment in the transportation system that the Belizean public so truly deserve.
Again, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure, and we'll continue to follow up with you guys here on Open Your Eyes as well as in our newscast. So with that, we'll take another break, and when we come back, we have Brother David Obi on set with us. We're transitioning to music and his musical contribution. So you don't want to miss our conversation. Stay tuned.